What is up, guys? Marcellus Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, here to educate you on health, fitness, social well-being. And today, guys, we're going to be going over the top 7 reasons why I train full body and why I believe you should as well. Alright, guys, so finally doing my first shirtless in the backyard type video. No, I will not even lie to you guys. That's the only reason I'm doing this, because I've always wanted to do that. Like, I don't know about those of you who've been watching YouTube fitness for a long time, but y'all remember the people where that's what they used to do. They just go in their backyard, take their shirt off and everything like that. But anyway, let's get right into it, guys. So the reason I'm doing this video is because, once again, guys, I've talked about before why bro splits aren't optimal. I've talked about the fact that full body is the most optimal way to train. I've given a few details here and there, but I've never done a full-on video explaining the importance of why I believe full body is the best way to go, especially if you're a natural lifter. I've talked about how at the end of the day, you have to train the way that you enjoy, because it's better to train the way that you enjoy that may be suboptimal, but you're gonna be consistent with, than to try to train the most optimal way if you don't enjoy it, right? That makes sense. And I still stand by that. This video is not to convince anyone to do full body if you absolutely hate it or don't want to. It's to explain the why. You guys know I'm all about, giving the why you do certain things. I'm not just gonna tell you what to do, I'm gonna explain why. So this can help those of you who either you already do full body, but you just wanna have a better understanding of exactly why you're doing it, instead of just being like, oh, it's the best way to train, but you don't know why. And it's also for those of you who are maybe thinking about it, considering it, but aren't sure if you want to do it. Because, let's be real, guys, there's some people out here where they don't care about what's what they enjoy. They just want results, and they want to spend their time in the gym doing what they can to get the most optimal results. And then there's some people where they'll just enjoy the gym so long as they're in there, so they might as well do what's going to get the most bang for their buck. So that's why I'm doing this. So I have my 7 reasons written down on my phone, just so I can make sure that I don't miss anything, that I don't forget anything. And then I'll just explain as I go, pretty much, right? So reason number 1, guys, is protein synthesis. So for those of you who don't know, who aren't aware, if you're a natural lifter, anytime you hit a muscle group, that muscle group is only gonna grow anywhere from 24 to 48 hours after you've hit it. People who are enhanced don't have to worry about this. Protein synthesis stays stimulated within their body due to the drugs they're on. But for natural lifters, like if you go in on Monday and you hit chest, then your chest is gonna grow at most up until Wednesday. After that, you need to make sure you're hitting it. As such, it is important for natural lifters, if we're trying to optimize and maximize hypertrophy, maximize muscle growth, that we're hitting every muscle group at least every 48 hours. You wanna hit it at least every 2 to 3 days, pretty much. And if you're trying to maximize hypertrophy, it doesn't mean that you have to hit it as hard the next time. Like if you go really hard on a chest movement on Monday, you don't have to come in and hit it as hard, but you need to hit it again to keep that stimulus going, to keep that growth going. Well, full body allows you to do this in the most optimal way. There is no other split routine where you're able to hit your muscle group, 3 to 4 times a week, every muscle group. Even if you do upper lower, and instead of doing traditional upper lower where you do upper lower, maybe Monday, Tuesday, then upper lower, Thursday, Friday, even if you do an advanced version that we're doing upper lower 3 times a week, so 3 upper days and 3 lower body days, full body is still the only way that you're going to be able to do 4 times a week, hit each muscle group 4 times a week. So there's no beating it in terms of protein synthesis, which is very important. That leads into reason number 2, being frequency. So here's the thing. Once again, frequency goes hand in hand with protein synthesis, right? The more frequently you can hit a muscle group, the better. Why? Because we have to keep that protein synthesis going. But when I'm talking about frequency, I'm referring to frequency of movement. Since we understand, if you're watching this channel, this isn't your first video of mine watching, and if it is, you'll understand if you go watch some of the old videos, progressive overload is the #1 key to building strength or muscle mass in a natural lifter. Well, you're gonna get a lot stronger and be able to progress a whole lot faster on select movements if you hit them more often. Somebody who's squatting 2, 3, 4 times a week is gonna get stronger on the squat than somebody who's only squatting once a week. Somebody who's bench pressing, same thing, 2, 3, 4 times a week, you're gonna get a lot stronger on that, progress a lot faster on that than someone who's only benching once a week. So it's kind of like, let's say you're doing 3 sets of 10 on bench once a week, right? And every time you get 3 sets of 10, you bump up the weight. Whereas if you're doing like that, if you're doing that more often throughout the week, let's say you're not necessarily doing all 3 sets of 10, maybe on one day you do 3 sets of 10, then 2 days later you do like 4 sets of 5. The point is you're changing it up, right? But you're gonna progress a lot faster. Why? Because you're practicing the movement more. Specificity of training, guys, right? If you wanna get better at something, you have to do it more specifically, practice it more often. So you're gonna get stronger on your movements, therefore you're lifting more weight, therefore you're making your body do more work, therefore you're gonna maximize growth more so than just working on it once a week. Oh, Helicopter, sorry guys. I'm starting to understand why people stop doing the whole backyard thing. Anyway, reason number 3, guys, is gonna be your volume. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, I like push-pull legs, I like upper lower, I like doing bro splits because you can do more volume. That's not the case, guys. Understand that when we're talking about volume, we're referring to your total workload, right? Which means your sets times your weight times your reps. And when we're looking at the amount of volume that you can do in a given muscle group, we're looking at weekly volume. So technically speaking, you can get the same amount of weekly volume on full body as you can on any type of split. And if anything, you can probably get more volume. Because that's the thing, you guys have to understand that even if you're hitting that muscle group really, really hard, but you're only doing it 2 times out the week, well, I can technically come in and hit that muscle group 4 times throughout the week, get the same or more volume, but if anything, I'm gonna recover even better from it because I'm spreading that volume throughout. I'm not just ramming that muscle group for that day to where I'm too sore to where eating, where we're even coming in on my second day of that week and hitting that muscle group is gonna be torture because I'm so sore. I'm able to spread it out throughout the week. A lot of people have this mindset like, oh, I just don't feel like I did enough, like I worked enough, but that's all psychological, guys. How you feel or what you think up here has nothing to do with how your muscles respond to training stimulus. At the end of the day, it's fine to train how you want based off what you enjoy, but the mindset that, oh, no, if I split my muscle groups up, I can do more volume, or oh, I can focus on the muscle group more. First of all, that doesn't even make sense. How are you focusing on the muscle group more if you're hitting it less total times per week? Think about it. If on full body, I'm able to hit my chest, my legs, and my back 3 to 4 times a week, am I not focusing on it more than you hitting your chest only twice a week or once a week? Yeah, you're focusing on it on just that day, but as far as total weekly progression, I'm focusing on that muscle group way more than what you are because I'm hitting it more times a week. So that's another thing, as far as volume, you can get the same amount of volume weekly as you want to split, if not more, but since it's spread out, it's going to be more effective for your overall growth and recovery. Next point, let me make sure I'm on track. Yeah, next point, that leads into point number 4, which is more controlled focus of your muscle groups. So here's the thing, guys. You don't have to necessarily go in on full body and hit everything evenly, right? You can hit full body, but still have days that are more focused on one thing than another. You can have a full body day where, you hit a leg movement, a back movement, but then you do maybe 2 or 3 chest movements. Or you have a full body day where you do like 1 shoulder movement, 1 back movement, 1 chest movement, and then you focus on legs. You can still do that. You can still focus on a muscle group more on one day than another, but since you're still doing a little bit of work for your entire body each day, once again, you keep that protein synthesis going. You keep that muscle growth going the way you want, and ultimately, like I said, you can still get the same volume. Like when people say, oh, I'm doing the split so I can focus on this muscle group more, once again, it doesn't make sense for the same reason that's saying, oh, well, I'm doing the split so I can get more volume on this muscle group, but you're really not. You're hitting the muscle group less. For the total week, you're hitting it less. So you can focus on a muscle group more. Think about it. If I want a muscle group to grow, and I understand that protein synthesis only lasts 24 to 48 hours, then that would mean that I need to hit that muscle group more often, not less. Think about it. No matter how much volume you do on Monday, no matter how much work you put into it, your growth stops on Wednesday. Plus, keep in mind, guys, you can only stimulate so much growth at a time during a given session. You get to the point where you're not even stimulating any more growth. So it's like you did all that work just for it to come to a halt on Wednesday. Whereas if I do, let's say I only do half the work that you did on that Monday, but I do it 4 times a week versus 1 time a week, well then I still did double the work that you did. Because even if I took your workload and cut in half, if I do those halves 4 times, that's 2. So I still did double the workload that you did just by spreading it out throughout the week. So that's reason number 4. Reason number 5, variations. That's the going in once again. You can have more variation with full body training. What do I mean by that? There's lots of ways to go about it, guys. You don't have to do the standard the standard minimalist way where it's like, oh, just 1 movement per muscle group. You can do 2 movements per muscle group, 3 movements per muscle group. You can do a day where, hey, yeah, it's full body, but this is chest focused full body. This is back focused full body. This is leg focused full body. More variation in terms of who all you can train with. When you're on a split like push-pull legs, let's say you want to go train with somebody else, and mind you, I'm not dogging push-pull legs to this day. There's videos of me saying it. It's still, for me psychologically, my favorite way to train. Even though I've mostly trained full body for my years training, even though I'm currently training full body because I know it's the most optimal way to train because I do enjoy full body, push-pull legs to this day is still my favorite way to train. But the thing is, if I want to work out with somebody else, right, and they're on a different day, it's so hard to fit that into my schedule because like push-pull legs, push-pull legs. So if it's their leg day and my push day, or if they want to train full body or upper body, it throws my workouts off for the whole rest of the week. With full body, you have more freedom. Why? Well, because, perfect example, yesterday, I hit a back day with my friend Jacob. You guys have seen Jacob on the channel before. So it's like, that didn't throw me off. Why? Well, because I can just move my full body a day ahead and that's okay. As long as I'm still hitting everything every 24 to 48 hours, I'm good. So if I'm hitting every muscle group every other day, it just gives me more flexibility with training with others. So that's another reason why I enjoy it, because it allows me to more freely train with others without throwing off my programming or my own workout split. I really don't have to worry about that. Reason number 6, best for athletics and overall functionality. So this is kind of like, I would hope, common sense, right? Find me one sport, guys, one actual, like, you know, athletic sport where you're only using one muscle group, where you're just using your biceps or your back or just your legs. It doesn't work that way. With athletics, our bodies work as one unit, and full body, especially when you have an emphasis on compound movements, will allow you to do that. When you're squatting and overhead pressing in the same day, when you're deadlifting and bench pressing in the same day, when you're using your body together as one unit, that's gonna be better for overall athletics. So if you're that's the one thing that's the only time where I just don't understand it. I say train how you want, but if you're an athlete, there is zero reason for you not to be training full body, because you need to practice how you're gonna play. When you're playing, you're using your entire body. If you're a football player, you're using your entire body. If you run track, you're using your entire body. You play basketball, you're using your entire body. So full body, honestly, is the best way to go. Plus, you can manage your volume and frequency better with full body, to where, you know, you're not coming in limping onto the track because, oh, I had leg day yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So, and then as far as overall functionality, once again, the body's designed to work as one unit. And full body allows you to more effectively do that versus trying to split your muscle groups up and just working, like, you know, in one certain region at a time of your body. And then last but not least, guys, the final reason, which is the most important, is that full body, scientifically speaking, is just best for your overall health and longevity. Why? You're less likely to get muscle imbalances. Aside from the fact that, yes, muscle balances make you look like, oh, you're not as aesthetic, bro, like you got one trap higher than the other. The reality is, as I've explained to you guys before in past videos, muscle imbalances can be dangerous, especially when we're talking about antagonistic muscle imbalances. When you're very front dominant, very chest dominant, and you have like a weak back, that can lead to a lot of shoulder problems and shoulder injuries. When you're very quad dominant and you have weak hamstrings, that can lead to a lot of injuries as far as your knees or like pulled hamstrings, things like that. That tends to happen due to muscle imbalances. Well, that's far less likely to happen if you're training full body. Why? Well, because even if you do have days that are more focused on one muscle group than the other, so long as you still make that even, like, okay, this day may be more chest focused, but this next day is more leg focused, next day is more back focused. And the reality is, even then, you're still hitting everything together. You're less likely to have those muscle imbalances occur. Whereas with something with an upper lower or push-pull legs, mind you, I'm not saying that you can't do those and correct muscle imbalances, but you have to make sure you're disciplined. A lot of people get a little hot. You have to make sure you're disciplined, because a lot of people on push-pull legs, they'll come in, they'll destroy their chest, they'll wreck their back, and they'll do like 2 movements for their legs. I'm gonna do leg press and leg extensions. You're gonna have imbalances as a whole when you train that way. So if you are gonna do push-pull legs or upper lower or push-pull or any type of split or even bro split, you have to make sure you're training everything evenly. You have to be very careful to prevent muscle imbalances, and it's just a lot easier to, you know, avoid that if you're training full body. So for your overall just health and longevity, it's just better for you as far as preventing imbalances, as well as the fact that it's usually better on the joints. Why? Well, because once again, I'm spreading everything out throughout the week. Keep in mind, not just on my muscles, but on my joints. I'm not going in there and just doing a crap load of pressing motions and press down motions and overhead extension motions that may, if I'm doing too much volume in one day, cause elbow issues. There's nothing wrong with those movements in and of themselves, as long as you're using proper form. But as I've explained before, guys, if you've already gone in and you did bench press, incline bench press, decline bench press, weighted dips, and then you follow that up with 2 versions of tricep press downs, that's so much pressure on your elbow at one time, especially if you're doing excessive isolation work. Like, that's another thing. When you're doing, like, you know, your compound movements, yes, there's not as much pressure on just that specific joint because more muscles are working together. But if you're just doing an excessive load of tricep press downs after you just finished all of your presses, which I have to ask, why are you even doing that? Like the lateral medial head of your tricep have been plenty stimulated from your presses. If anything, just focus on overhead work for the long head. But my point is, with all of that work in the same day, yeah, that can cause issues with your elbows. If you're squatting and leg pressing and doing leg extensions and V squats, unless you're doing all that in the same day, yeah, that can cause issues on your knees. And think about it. Think about how many bodybuilders in general who train with these different splits. Granted, a lot of it is just due to improper form or due to doing like excessive isolation work. But think about it. How many of these people on these splits have all these issues like, oh, this hurts, that hurts all the time? Well, maybe it's because you're doing so much to those joints at one time, right? Whereas when you spread it throughout the week, you do a few push movements here, a few pull movements, a few leg movements, and you spread it throughout the week, you're not putting so much damage on an area at any given one time. That's something you guys have to keep in mind. That's why I'm a big proponent of gradually, progressively overloading on your movements, because of and like, you know, taking your time with it. Because the mere fact that if you're just constantly hammering away at your body, your muscles may be able to take it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that your joints can. That's the biggest misconceptions. Weight training, strength training in general, is good for your muscles and your bones and your joints. It's this misconception that like, oh, make sure you're not lifting too heavy because, you know, as you get older, it's gonna mess you up. No, not if you're training correctly. But yeah, when you're doing excessive amount of volume on one given group in a day, yeah, that may lead to issues. So just for overall health and longevity, guys, that's the final reason. So yeah, those are my 7 reasons as to why I train full body. Those are my 7 reasons as to why I think you should train full body if you're a natural athlete, why I think it's the most optimal way to train to maximize your gains. Once again, at the end of the day, if you don't like full body, it's okay, it's cool. This is not a channel where like, oh, if you don't do what I say, you don't like what I say, then screw you. Now, mind you, if you try to argue against like science and facts, then yeah, I have a problem with you. That's the problem I have with a lot of the fitness industry. But it comes down more to being willing to accept that, hey, I understand that what I want to do is not the most optimal. Scientifically speaking, it's suboptimal, but it's what I enjoy, so it's what I'm going to do. I have no issue with that. I wish you all the luck in the world, more power, more gains to you. But I just think it's important for people to understand the truth behind full body and get away from this mindset that, oh, it's only for beginners, that, oh no, push-pull legs is a more advanced split. Like, stuff like that doesn't even matter. Like, how is it more advanced? How does how you split your muscle groups make you more or less advanced? At the end of the day, if you're hitting the same movements for the same amount of weight, you're not any more advanced just because you went to a different split. By that default, if I take a beginner and put him on a push-pull legs, does that mean he's suddenly more advanced than me who's doing full body? So that type of thing, it doesn't even matter. But that is a whole different topic for a whole different video. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you did. If you did not, leave a comment down below letting me know what I can do to get better. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch y'all later.